If you had $434 million out there accruing interest and doing other things, and you got some kid, paying you 50 grand a year, right? That's a very small component to your overall revenue. However, that kid is an investment to help grow that endowment later. So them giving you 20 grand is a drop in the bucket in order to acquire the good kid, right? It's an investment. We always had families come to us when they were seniors. And in many cases, it was too late. Not too late to play the game, but too late to do anything different. So we always tried to work and dig further down to where the families with freshmen, because every single thing they do through high school is what separates them from additional competition. Because if you think just your grades and just your test scores are all you need, good luck. Sometimes I even feel bad when I lay it out for people, because there's 3 rules we got to follow. Number 1, you have to ignore, as the parents and the student, you have to ignore the sticker price of the college.
You're listening to the Real Business Connections Network. Real Business Connections Network. Powered by Balbert Marketing, LLC. Subscribe now and check us out at realbusinessconnections.com. Enjoy the show.
So is college pricing a scam?
That is a great question. You have a lot of people out there that are dialoguing on campuses about college being a scam. And I would say the pricing is not a scam. It's a business. The colleges are businesses, and they're not stupid. So that would be my answer. No, it's not a scam. It's a business.
It blows my mind. I mean, my parents went to Ithaca College in New York, gorgeous college. They've built out the area so much. But now it's so darn expensive that, not all of us are millionaires. Not all of us have the means to go to this big fancy school. And I remember when they went, it was affordable. And now it just seems like it's completely unaffordable. To
100%.
me, I get scam vibes, because it's what's the return on my investment if I'm hundreds of thousands in the hole and I'm a theater major at a college where I just smoked weed the whole time? What's going on here?
Now, that's a different question. Is going to college and getting the degree a scam for what it costs? That's a different question. Is the cost a scam? That's a slightly little tweak to it. So let me dig into that a little bit. So we've had the government involved in helping get to college since the 50s, but they really, really solidified themselves as the primary lender in around 1992. And what they did was they solidified the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid that parents are required to fill out if they're wanting any aid. And so they solidified that. Now, if we think what the FAFSA is, the FAFSA is an application for aid. It has all these internal calculations where mom and dad and student funnel in their financial information, and it generates a number. Now, most families that we've worked with over the years didn't know that the purpose of it was to generate a number. And that number used to be called the expected family contribution, known as the EFC. Mm-hmm. And it would generate this number that the family was expected to pay based upon their information. Now, as you can imagine, that number was always high. So if we had a family making 60 grand a year as a household, they'd see this number around 12 or 15 grand. And they're like, what? We can't pay that much. If you had a family making $1 million, they would get an EFC $300,000. And they'd go, they think we can pay 300 grand a year. Now, no school will cost that, but they couldn't do $300,000. Everybody's is high. Mm. And that's the number that the school sees. So now the school's in conjunction with the government on this, and they're like, hey, this family can afford 60 grand. Cool. Now, if you're a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 cost of attendance university, and you see this family can afford it, do you lay out your very best offer? Of course not. Because the government goes, hey, mom and dad, we know, oh boy, that kind of hurts. We're here to help you.
Well, let's take a second, Kelly, because this isn't not me haggling for a leather jacket in a foreign country. This is like an American citizen trying to get an education, and Correct. They're still trying to charge me too much.
So the government, I mean, we would do the same. if our customers, for whatever widget we sold, had basically money provided to them by the government to buy our product. I mean, let's just look at how the healthcare system has created to where the hospital charges $250 for a Band-Aid, right? Because of all the government's little involvement and all the crap that goes on. And, it's nonsense what happens in the healthcare industry. This is no different. These colleges, their prices are inflated because the government hands money out. Over $1.7 trillion in like the last 15 years or 16 years in parent and student loan debt. So the government solidifies themselves as the banker. You can't write that off in any bankruptcy. I mean, they have solidified themselves at interest for this revenue. So it is a designed problem. Anytime we have a politician up there talking about this and that with college, they've created the problem. They knew exactly what they did. They're the ones who created the calculations. They're the ones that didn't go, sorry, man, that is expensive, but here's your $25,000 Parent Plus loan. We're going to help you. So it's the ultimate Ronald Reagan. The worst thing you can hear is I'm from the government and I'm here to help, was his old line. And this is exactly what they've done. And all you got to look at is how the calculations work and all the loans that exist right now in Parent and Student Plus loans. And the example I'm going to show you today is nauseating. I mean, it's absurd what the government has laid out for this one family I'm working with. So if the college is sitting there waiting to see, and why wouldn't they? They're a business. They're going to wait to see if you in fact can afford that and you actually pay it, or if you accept the government money to pay their bill. Why wouldn't they? You and I would do that if we were selling a widget. If you're a customer and I got a widget and you've got an endless source of revenue, I want to wait to see if you take that government money to pay for my widget. Why wouldn't I?
Sure.
Why am I going to lay out my best offer right away? I'm not going to do that. So once we understand this internal working, it becomes a different ball game on how we can leverage a school for more money. And when we do it, the results are drastic.
And I want to learn how we do it because
Perfect.
one thing I'm not an expert at, I'm not a political expert. I don't know how the government works. I get apathetic sometimes. And what I've learned is we've got the tools we have. So if I can learn a way to use the tools properly and save money for the youth that need that money and that education, whether right or wrong or this, I almost don't even care. I want to learn how to do it so I can help the people that need that funding.
100%. That's absolutely right. And that's what we set out to do. So from a time standpoint, I don't necessarily want to really take the time of how I got here. I'm in the financial service world. Basically the nutshell, I was learning about, college planning. There's some financial tools to use to kind of help expand our clients' capability to make things possible for them and their kids. And so, over 10 years ago, just started stumbling into this, heard some things for some other advisors I didn't agree with, and it just kind of raised some red flags for me and like, something's not right. And just started digging in. And then I was working with a client who turned out to be a husband and wife team, and they were the principal and the head of postgrad of Colorado's #1 charter school. And the head of postgrad wife leaned back in her chair and she goes, "Would you mind talking to our parents about this? Because this is their biggest concern. It's not whether the kid's going, it's how the hell are they going to make it possible?" And we had like 150 families show up. And because it was the #1 charter school, then all the other charter schools started reaching out to us going, "We have the same problem. Can you help? Can you help?" So we quickly became this, like the #1 speaker in the charter school system here in Colorado. And we were on to something. So as business people, we saw an opportunity to monetize this education. And that just never really felt right, believe it or not. It just kind of didn't work. It was a difficult thing to monetize. Do I look at you and say, "Hey man, pay me $1,000 and I'll teach you how to do this"? Well, there's no guarantee. In any business negotiation, there's no guarantee. We didn't have a widget that always reduced the cost. So it was kind of just difficult to play that game with people. So I'll get into where we're sitting with it now and how families can get access to all of it at no cost. But so it's really actually been extremely simple, believe it or not. Sometimes I even feel bad when I lay it out for people because there's 3 rules we got to follow. #1, you have to ignore, as the parents and the student, you have to ignore the sticker price of the college. See, a lot of families, like let's just use locally here in Colorado. We have the University of Denver, private D1 school, national champions in hockey and lacrosse, great school, great business school, great engineering school, excellent. It's about 80 grand a year to go to that school. It's private. You've got the University of Colorado, which is about 60, 65 grand. You have Colorado State University, which is normally around like low 30s. Then you have like Mesa, which is like 18, 21 grand out in Grand Junction. So what parents do is they go, oh man, kid, we can't have you go to DU or CU.
Mm-hmm.
We got to apply to CSU and hopefully get some money, or maybe Mesa.
How could we ignore the differentiation of the cost?
Yeah, that's the number one rule. So I'll get to why that is, but you've got to ignore the sticker price. Second, they are likely, almost assuredly going to lowball you on your financial aid offer. Again, getting back to what we talked about. Why wouldn't they? It's a business. Let's see if you accept the government money. And the example I'm going to show you is perfect. I just got it last week. And then third, you can appeal the financial aid offer. I have never met an individual who knew you could do this. And I've worked with some very savvy business people. I've got videos. You can see I was asked by a very large, you would recognize their name, financial planning firm. They're across the country. Their number one office is here in Denver. They asked me, they made it mandatory for all of their representatives to attend my presentation. Not one of them, 110 of them, not one of them knew you could appeal a financial aid decision. So think about that from a financial planner standpoint in their office. They're working to help their clients save the money to pay cash. That money's gone forever. If you paid 200 grand a year for, 200 grand total for college, that money can no longer ever earn for you ever again. So there's a lost opportunity cost to that. So that's what they're helping their clients do. And none of them know that they might be able to get it for 100 grand and save that additional $100,000 and have that as retained money under management for them that can continue on with the family. None of them knew they could do this.
Same exact deliverables, same college, same degree, so same product you're purchasing from the college, half the investment.
Absolutely. So my firstborn kid went to it was 27,000 at the time, cost me $3,400 for the year. Yeah. And she never played varsity. She got a 24 on her ACT. She was like a 3.4 GPA. She wasn't some elite student, but she was packaged like a boss. So that leads to how we're doing this and why we ignore the sticker price. So in research, and I can demonstrate and show you the research. In research, you find schools where your kid is an above average student for them. And see, what families do is they look at the kind of average scores, or if they find any of that information, they look at it from a standpoint of, oh, you'll get admitted. No, we don't want to look at it from just getting admitted. We want to look at it from a standpoint of this is an above average student for them. Because if we're an above average student, then they want us, potentially, more than likely. And if they want us, we can go after some money. So if we know we're an above average student for this school, then what kind of financial offers do they offer on average? And see, most families don't even know you can find this information. You could find their last enrollment cycle, their average need-based offer, and their average merit offer. So if you know their average offers in financial aid, and you know you're above average, would you expect to get a below average offer or an average offer for them? Of course not. So I had a guy go, it's like knowing the cost sheet for the car dealership before you walk in. I'm like, that's exactly right. If you had that data. So let's look at that exact example. If you were financially required to buy a brand new $100,000 car every year for 4 years straight, do you think you would put some effort into understanding how to negotiate on that? Of course you would. Would you just walk in and the dealer comes over and goes, here's the price of the car, and go, oh, damn. Okay, well, they didn't really give us much of a deal, but I guess we got to take it.
Nice tires.
Right. You're going to do everything you can. You're going to bring along a buddy who understands it really well, maybe someone in the industry. You're going to take, but in this case, you just don't. You just accept their offer. It's a business. So if we know, this is where ignoring the sticker price. So let's look at the DU example that I gave, the private university here in Colorado that's over 80 grand. If I know my kid is an exceptional student for that school, those private universities, they've got a crap ton of money and they love buying good kids. I have yet in 10 years of doing this, I have yet to have a kid go to DU for less than one of those smaller schools here in Colorado because DU buys them. And I'll prove that to you. So we ignore the sticker price because we're looking at, and the research that we do, schools that our kid is an average to above average student for that the school would want. So if I'm looking at a DU with my kid and I can see their data on their average incoming freshmen and the average offers, and I'm like, dude, you're not very competitive for this school, then that might not be one we go after. Right? Or it would be one we go after and we just see, but we're not expecting anything. But if I know at CSU, Colorado State University up in Fort Collins, if I know my kid's competitive for that school, CSU loves buying kids away from CU. Yep, we're going after them. So
Really?
when you do this research, the 6 to 10 schools your kid's applying to, they're competitive for. And now that puts us in a different arena. So that's why we ignore the sticker price. Then number 2, we're prepared. We know what their average offers are. So when an offer comes, if it's low, we know it. We're not shocked by it. We get it. It's a business. Here are the loans that are offered. Nope. And we appeal it. And I've got these templated letters. It always comes from the student. How many students do you think send a very nice, wonderful letter about their desire to go to that school, asking for additional resources because they're just doing everything they can to make this be the best decision they can for themselves and their family, to the director of financial aid in a stamped letter? None.
I'm literally imagining a human being gasping.
It's happened. So I had a client.
Like, what? I didn't even, what are they doing?
I had a client. He had triplets. One of them got a free ride. This kid was brilliant. The other 2 were good. They were really above average students, and they both applied to the same university. So I have 2 letters, one with special circumstance and one without special circumstance. Well, this is a special circumstance. We're triplets. Man, mom and dad have been freaking out about since the ultrasound, and here we are. So they didn't say in their letter that our oldest sister got a free ride, but they did reference they're triplets, and we are advocating for our parents as much as we can. They sent this my templated letter. They add their twist to it, and it always comes from the student. They got a call from the director of financial aid, and the guy said, "I'm going to do everything I can." Right? Because you got to think of it as a business and a community. The school is responsible to the community for the kids they bring in. They want good kids. They have data like insurance carriers have actuarial data on their insureds. They know the quality of the kid that they bring in, what that does to their endowments later on from the alumnus gifts and everything else, right? The quality of that student. So they want good kids. And if you've got this kid that they know is above average, you've got this kid advocating for themselves, you've got this kid that's packaged really well. That's one of the ways we'll get into next. How do we become a student that they want? Then the only thing they can do, they can't offer dad season tickets. They don't offer a special Saturday parking spot for tailgating. They can't offer a suite on the top floor of the dorm with elevator access like, there's some pimped celebrity. The only thing they can do is help make it possible and buy that student through grants and scholarships and other things. And they've got the money. One presentation I was giving, I had this dad. I love it when in any of these presentations, when somebody has to tell you who they are, right? Like if you ever watch Game of Thrones and the little king, the little punk, I forget his name, but he's like, I'm the king. And his grandpa said, if you have to say you're the king,
you're not the king.
You're not the king. So if you start with, I'm a CPA, right? Okay. So you're going to challenge me. And you said, I just can't believe that I find it hard to believe that colleges belly up this much money to buy one student. And I'm like, fair question. I had just happened to be studying the University of Wyoming's financial reports like 5 days before that. And I go, take a guess. And then it led me to looking at several other random universities. I go, take a guess how much tuition and fees play a part in what percentage do tuition and fees account for the school's overall annual revenue? And he's like, it's got to be 60%. And someone else like, no, not that high, maybe 30. And University of Wyoming at the time, it was between 8 and 9% of their overall revenue.
Huh.
I found some at like 12. So their endowments are huge. If you had $434 million out there accruing interest and doing other things, and you got some kid, paying you 50 grand a year, right? That's a very small component to your overall revenue. However, that kid is an investment to help grow that endowment later. So them giving you 20 grand is a drop in the bucket in order to acquire the good kid, right? It's an investment. So it's just fascinating to me, the business side of this. So one, we ignore the sticker price because we've researched. We know our kid's a good student for this, a possible student for this school. So how do we package them? So high school time, we always had families come to us when they were seniors. And in many cases, it was too late. Not too late to play the game, but too late to do anything different. The package is the package. That's what we had. So we always tried to work and dig further down to where the families with freshmen, because every single thing they do through high school is what separates them from additional competition. Because if you think just your grades and just your test scores are all you need, good luck. Because it's like just being beautiful. You just think your beauty is going to get it for you. Well, you know what? You got a lot to learn because life's going to be hard. There's a lot of character stuff you got to build within that. So everything we can do to package our kid. So every club, well, don't just join the club. Doesn't matter if it's chess club. Become the secretary. You don't need to be the president. Become in leadership. FBLA, future business leaders. All right. Get in leadership. Because you join the club, that separates you from other kids who never do that. You're in leadership. That now separates you from the kids that are in the club, but not in leadership. Anything you can do, your activities. So like here in Colorado, you have to have like 25 or 50 hours of community service. My daughter had 1,200. Did that make a difference? Yeah. She was focused on it all 4 years, right? So that whole package is what we teach. How do you do this so that when your package comes, these people go, wow, this is a great kid for our school. They're above average for us. They're a wonderful person in the community. This is a kid we want. Well, let's see what happens. Let's offer this to them and let's go. But then when that appeal letter comes, you're packaged in a great way. It's amazing what happens. It's amazing what happens.
Is there such thing as too late? When do we start? Because I can imagine, what if I'm graduating? It's May at the time we're recording this. What if I'm graduating high school in a month?
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to show you. This example I'm going to show you is that exact scenario. So It's kind of a Hail Mary, right?
Well, show the darn example. You mentioned it a couple of times. Now I want to see it real bad now.
All right. Okay, so I will zoom in on this, and I'll be describing it for those that are listening. This is an actual financial aid offer that just arrived like last week from this dad and son that I'm working with. There, you're going to notice right here, it says based upon the aid application. So now it's no longer called the expected family contribution. It's called the student aid index. And this is true. Why did they change it from expected family contribution to student aid index? They literally said in their language, this is like almost an actual quote, because it caused too much confusion.
Sure.
No, think about this. Expected family contribution is confusing, but student aid index isn't. See, student aid index is confusing. That makes you think that's how much aid you're going to get. But no, that's your expected contribution. They changed some of the rules. They made these numbers bigger. So a couple years ago, this family's EFC probably would have been about 28. Well, now their expected contribution, you'll see here, was $41,700. So they changed some of the calculations to make it bigger. So they knew that families would really complain if they're like, you think we can do almost 42,000? Are you insane? So they changed the description. So families see this and they think like, oh, this is how much aid we're going to get. No, that's what you're expected to pay. I mean, this is all by design. It is 100% by design. Don't ever allow any politician to kind of make you think it's something different. They know exactly what they're doing. It's frustrating, but it's true. So this family here has a $41,789 student aid index. That's what all their financial calculations show they can pay every year. Well, look at this estimated cost of attendance for the kid who's going to be living, housing, $84,272.
Yeah, over twice.
This is a school. It's on the form here. I won't say it, verbally, whatever. But if you dig in, you can see it. It's a California school. It's not like it's some elite Harvard thing. $84,000 a year. Now they have a financial need. They show they can only pay 42. Let's just call it 42. So there's a gap. That gap is called your need. Now look at what they offered him here. That's down here. Scholarships.
I see a whole lot of zeros.
Grants. Need-based grants. Need. Look at all these that they could pick from. Federal Pell, SHIP grants, institutional grants. Another little institutional grant, state grant, blue and gold parenting grant, other grant, nothing. They offered them nothing. This is an above average kid for them. So here, what did they offer? Well, they offered the kid $5,500 a year in loans. I actually am not opposed to the kid having $21,000 or $22,000 at the end of 4 years. It's kind of like a used car, and you got a little skin in the game. But $5,500 in loans and a little work study. And then look at this. Federal Parent Plus loan for the parents, $75,772 per year. This was a financial aid offer kicked out. Mom and dad, you can end up with a $300,000 Parent Plus loan to send your kid to this school. Is that not ridiculous? It is ridiculous. So now, if for those who can't see it, hopefully we described that. They could afford, according to the FAFSA application, half of the cost, roughly 42, showing like roughly 85 grand in total cost. Offered them $5,500 a year in loans, a little $3,000 a year work study, and $75,000 a year for mom and dad in the form of loans. And they're in a need base. Now, this is a resource. I used to not give it away because I wanted to be able to teach it, but since I give everything away now, it's collegedata.com. Collegedata.com. It's a free resource. You can access it. All the schools funnel in. What they try to do on College Data is eventually get your kid to be like a banking customer of them. This is sponsored by a bank. But I would love to have this data. I'd love to own it. I think it'd be great, but I don't. So this is that same university. These are their numbers. Now look at this. I love this, but it's also can be frustrating. Look at this headline here. Average percent of need met. So this family has a need of roughly 42,000. And this school on average meets 87% of that. Well, how much did they offer them? 0% of it. The average award, this is need-based. For those with need, the average is $29,573. How much did this family get? 0 in their first financial aid offer. Down here, their average merit offer, $9,300. How much did they offer? Nothing. So 29.5 and 9.93, there is what? $40,000 worth of aid on the table for this family. So is this one we appeal?
Sure.
Heck yeah, we are. 100%, because they're waiting to see if mom and dad stroke the pen and accept $300,000 in loans from the government. Why wouldn't this university do that? Of course they're gonna. They then get their full pay.
Hey.
But they know, look at their own numbers here. They know it doesn't cost 84 grand for an out-of-state kid to go to the school. When on average, they're giving out 87% of the need, and on average, they're handing out 40 grand worth of aid.
If they're handing that out on average, why'd they offer this kid 0?
Yeah, and he's an above average kid for them. So here, how do you know if he's above average? So you scroll up here. Oh,
Sure.
there's the school. That's okay. You go to admissions.
Do you need me to blur anything out, or
No,
this is
I mean,
public
it's public data.
database?
Yeah, it's public data. And you scroll down, and most schools will. I mean, there's so much data here. Here's a little strategy. Let me sidetrack. Let me pivot. I never ever have kids write one essay. That's a big mistake. The schools right here tell you what's very important, and just considered to them. This is how you write your essay. You write a general essay, but in the system you can tweak it per submission of per school. So what's very important is the rigor of your secondary school record, your academic GPA. Your essay is very important. Well, that's great. Now look what they consider important: extracurricular activities, volunteer work, particular talent or ability, character or personal qualities. That's what you focus your essay on.
So like it says level of applicants' interest is not important, which is silly to me, but they want a good student. So you're not going to write an essay about how you dreamed going to this school since you're a baby. You're going to write an essay about your contribution to education and using it for career growth.
Correct. Now, there are some schools where level of applicants' interest is very important. So you tweak it. Man, I have always wanted to be a Jayhawk, man. Crimson and blue, baby.
Yeah.
So you tweak your essay. So then these people read this. They're like, man, this kid is just dialed in with us. And look, they have extracurricular activities. They've got a letter of recommendation about that. Volunteer work. They have a particular talent or ability. Look at these, talk about their character and quality. Yeah. So you're dialed in. This is how you can help make your kid a desirable student. And when we're a desirable student, would we expect an average offer? No, we wouldn't. So let's see what their yield rate is here. So they had 146,000 applicants, and they only admitted 9%. So they have a lot of applicants. And from that, from the 9%, 55% enrolled. So that's their yield rate. That's really, really strong. Normally it's like 20 to 35. So it's kind of like their closing ratio, right? So with a high yield rate, that is evidence to me that they buy students, because if you get approved, if you're one of the 9%, they're going to do everything they can to get you there. Well, they offered nothing for this family. So, they don't have stuff reported. So we scroll down here. Not every school does, but the majority of them do. But you see the average enrolled freshman GPA, so you know where you sit, the average SAT score, the average ACT score. So they're not reporting. This is very rare. So this school happens to not do this. This is how you know where your kid falls.
Sure.
Right.
So can you contact the school and just ask them?
Yeah, for sure. They don't put it here. That's fine. Sure. They might put it somewhere else. Now I'm not logged in, so this little thing always pops up. So look at the difference between their in-state and out-of-state. In-state's 38,000. Out-of-state, they're showing 70 on this, but in this form, it was showing 84. So this is the game that we play. So we know we're above average. The kid's packaged well. The essay was written based upon what they're looking for, has that experience, what they find very important, and is packaged like a boss, has the experience, targeted for the school in a need-based position, and they're waiting to see if mom and dad accept $300,000 in loans. Mom and dad are going to go, no. Here comes a letter from the kid going, man, I'm really trying to advocate because, blah, 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 character, quality, not just your level of interest. So the appeal letter shouldn't be about level of interest specifically, because that's not what's most important to them. And we're going to see what happens. I'm extremely confident we'll get something back in, that looks at this 40 grand. Maybe they cover 87% of that. Well, what is, maybe they just making an average offer. If their need is 42 grand, what's 87% of that times 0.87? 36.5. So you mean to tell me that we have a chance because we did our homework, we knew we were packaged, and we knew the numbers, and we sent the letter asking that we might get $36,000 off the price for each year?
Per year, yeah.
So we have the opportunity to save this family about $146,000 on average. Will it happen? There's no guarantee. And see, this is the Hail Mary. These guys came to me right now And I went through and discussed with them how he's packaged, blah, blah, blah. And I know that he's a quality student for them, but I don't, they didn't follow all my advice over the past 4 years. So it's kind of a Hail Mary. But I mean, the numbers from the school speak for themselves. They might not, if they do, I bet you we're going to be around, 30, 40 grand. So this is what we do per school. So if the kid is packaged well over their 4-year experience, targeting schools to where they know they're above average, we're in the position to where we are fully aware of that. We know what the school's numbers are. I've often said that if you've got the 6 to 10 schools to choose from, it's kind of like online dating. If you put all your eggs in one basket on one swipe to the left or right, whichever is the good one, right? You're like, oh my gosh, this is my dream girl, and that's the one and only I'm gonna highlight. Maybe not. But if you've done this for 6 to 10 different schools, one of them is going to want you. And the only thing they can do, getting back to that analogy, is offer you additional money. You saw in that form all the grants that showed 0. They could pull from those. Go, yeah, all right, you get this one, you get this one. How about this? Yep, I'm coming.
And you have templates of what to say when you're appealing it, how you help them write the essay itself.
Yeah.
This all on college, this is College Money Academy?
Yeah, it is.
You said it was free?
It is. So here's
what's the catch on that one?
So here
have to give you my beard or something?
Right. Yeah, you got a great beard, by the way, man. You need my tallow, by the way. So here is the catch, if there is a catch. So I'm in the financial service space. I'm on the insurance side. So I help clients maintain control of their capital. Create capital that's completely tax exempt. Have the ability to leverage their capital as they're growing, et cetera. So I've got to, jump here in about 15 minutes because every couple of weeks I go live with one of my partners, and we educate on this. We've done this for a very long time. We're, experts in our field. Yeah. And the college was always just, was a separate thing, but it was part of what we talked about. But there aren't specific financial strategies or financial products within it. It's its own animal. College Money Academy, its own animal. I think you found me. I was on Brad Lee's podcast talking about this. I had used his system for a little while, but so what I do is if somebody registers for my biweekly live webinar where I talk about what we do, financially on this side, if they register for that webinar, they get my entire program. I have all kinds of other content, but the College Money Academy is inside of that. You don't even have to attend. So you don't have to attend the webinar. You don't have to dig into any of that additional content if you don't want to. Your information's not sold. I mean, I'm 53. I've been doing this since 94 when I got licensed. I largely train other agents and agency owners and brokers, and I'm even involved with large insurance carrier trainings. So, there's no catch. There's nothing you're going to be asked to buy ever. So what I can't do, I've had, I almost just kind of shut it down. I'm very passionate about the College Money Academy, but it was something I just never could properly monetize. But I can't not talk about it. If I'm with somebody, I've so many single moms that I've worked with to where they're in a very hard position. And how do I not share this? I mean, I have not patting on the back, but I've changed lives. I mean, I'm working with the Soul Children of Chicago. It's an inner city group. These kids are exceptional. Parents typically don't have the resources. This last family, they were violating my first rule. They were not going to apply to a $95,000 university because there's just no way. They didn't want to get the kids' hopes up. I'm like, you're violating my first rule. This kid's exceptional. Mom and daughter are having to pay $5,000 to go to that school. Now, I didn't help package that kid. All I did was help direct them to go through this process. And let's give that school a chance on how bad they want you. Yeah. And that school, sure enough, ended up really, 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 really wanting her. So that's fantastic. I love it. How do I not help that woman? I mean, I can't if I can't not do it if I have the knowledge. So that's when I had shifted my focus back to, and kind of solely on what I do professionally within my industry, I added College Money Academy into it. So it's just part of my program. It's called my Financial Caffeine, which is right back here on my shirt. It's my Financial Caffeine Insiders. So it's my entire community of all my content for free, never any fee, which includes College Money Academy. So all someone has to do is register for that webinar. They immediately get a login. They can ignore the webinar and they get full content in perpetuity. There's never an ask for them to pay for anything. It's all professionally produced. I spent a lot of money on that. So it's an exceptional academy full of data, and they can learn how to do it. And essentially, because they're in the system, they can even like ask me questions because they're in our system. So there's ways for them to communicate, respond to an email. And I've had people do that. They just reach out and go, like this guy, the one I just showed you, he's in the Insiders. And he's like, hey, what are we doing here? And it's like, well, dig in, you would know if you followed everything, but that's fine. And I sent him a little video and responded to him, go, yeah, you're definitely going to appeal it. Go into the system, download the appeal letters and tweak them. Right. So am I getting paid for that? Not a dime, but that's okay. Because if I can do what we just showed, and I'm anticipating getting like 30 grand, I mean, that's substantial. I got to help them.
Nuance, but the mindset, I know I was this when I was younger. I didn't know what I couldn't do. If someone gave me a paper and said, these are the numbers, I'd be like, oh, I guess a family like this just doesn't afford a college like this. And once you see that mindset shift,
yeah,
that changes lives.
It absolutely does. Can I pull up the page? Do you mind for the webinar if they want to register for it?
I was going to ask you, and don't even say they. I know the listener's going to, but I was going to ask you, how do I register? I'll watch it. I'm not going to skip it. I know you said it's not required, but I'll watch it. Yeah. And I'm looking to learn more. So it's more than just College Academy. It's everything.
Yes. So it's this site. I can't zoom in anymore, but it's wealth.financialcaffeine.com/webinar-register. So it's a little long. wealth.financialcaffeine.com/webinar-register.
And it's in 11 minutes, but this is reoccurring, so we can go whenever we see this video or this.
Yeah,
this
well,
audio,
and the good thing is if you register, you immediately get access to. Let me show you. You get immediate access to this. Let me get in there. This is the Insiders memberships.
So an entire CRM.
Yeah. You get access to the Insiders, which has even live recordings of our webinar. So you can watch the webinar anytime. But here's the College Money Academy right here. So if you go in here, then you get everything. We talk financial aid basics. I mean, each of these you click, there's a very professionally produced content and video and education. I spent a pretty penny on the team, for all this. But so all this is in here. Understanding the cost, student prep. So here's all the components of student prep. College selection, that's a very key part, like we talked about. How do we do that? Loans and scholarships, the strategies to reduce the cost. And then there are some financial dialogues on where to save for college if you have the time to be saving, and then payment strategies. How do you incur that cost in the least impactful way? And then I got a case study on my own daughter. But all of this is, we used to charge a pretty penny for this, but that's all done. It's completely free, and it's here in our in our academy for everybody. So if they register, you get access to all of this stuff. Each one of these are their own full of data financially. They can watch a previous recording of my buddy John and I, or you can attend live. But there's never ever it is value only. That's what we are looking to provide. There's never an ask at all. So, if the only ask, I guess, is if you find it valuable, tell somebody else about it. I mean, even if it's just a family to get access to this and learn the College Money Academy, great. So yeah, that's how we're doing it. We're just funneling it through our Financial Caffeine webinar. And if you attend or not, totally fine. there's a variety of people in the industry that charge for all this stuff, and we're just not. It's like, look, at this point, we're truly focused on helping people. From that, a lot of people will step off to the side and go, "Hey man, I want to work with you." And that's great. We do it, but for the most part, it's just providing value as much as possible.
Well, hey,
So,
I'm gonna sign up. It's in the notes so the listener can sign up. Between you and I'll promote this in my community. Grow Getters only. We'll get the community mastermind members to sign up.
well, I appreciate that.
Worst joke of the day, but are you like the real life Robin Hood? Steal from the rich, give to the poor.
Yes. I did just put the link in the chat if you wanted to copy it. That's really funny. I like that a lot. I got to tell you, I've never made any money off of my College Money Academy thing. I've done it for, over 10 years, truly. But it's probably the greatest thing I've ever done because, I have had moms, cry. I've had, it's just amazing. I had a guy stop me. Where are we doing? Oh, we're good on time. I had a guy stop me. My wife and I were at a restaurant here in our town, and we were on the outside, little patio, and it's kind of hard to see who it was because of the reflection on the window, but someone's waving, trying to get my attention. And I go, baby, someone's, trying to get my attention. And I walk in and I knew exactly who it was. This was a dad who saw me speak at a school where his kids went. And then he met with me for coffee. And so at my presentation and then 45 minutes with coffee, that was it. And I never heard from the guy. So it was like 2 years later. And he's having breakfast with 3 other dudes. And he's like, "Hey, come here. He goes, and he put his arm around my shoulder. He goes, this is the guy that saved me 20 grand a year for whichever his kids, Julie's education." And I went, "What?" I go, "You got 80 grand? He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Why didn't you tell me, brother?"
Big.
So, honestly, how do I monetize that specifically when I could just show you in an hour presentation at a school and then 45 minutes of coffee and then what? You got to pay me 2 grand. It just never really worked to monetize it. So I'm done kind of trying to. So now
Sure.
it's even better because I just get to help people on it. And if I help this family we just demonstrated today get $30,000, talk about going to bed feeling like you're doing good stuff. That's a really great feeling,
Well, and this is a whole nother podcast, but anyone with any kind of assets, it sounds like you possibly can help anyone. And just the fact that you're helping my children, you're helping my friends, my neighbors, puts faith that if I come to you with my money questions, my tax questions, you can help there as well. So my hope is that there's a lot of reciprocal grace coming back to you for all the goodwill you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Me too. That'd be a lot of fun. It is fun, and I do get those opportunities, but I'm not going about it selfishly with that.
No.
At this point.
Can I ask you one final question?
Yeah.
And then we'll close out. Imagine someone isn't to high school yet, or they're a freshman in high school. What's your one main tip for someone that they can be helping their child as early as today? So once it's time for them to be packaged and positioned, they're good to go. What's your one main tip?
The one main tip is that to take high school seriously, do as good as you can. Grades are important, but they aren't the number one thing. It's the quality of the kid. So being involved in community and in high school stuff is more important than most parents think. They think they're just building experiences, but I've told students, I very rarely work with the student, but I've told students, I've said, you got to look at it almost like a job. If you're part of Future Business Leaders of America or the Chess Club, you're going to get paid for that involvement because the school's going to buy you. So, taking that part of it, because that part of the package is important because we want to be packaged and we want to be above average for that school. And it is more than just great. So, and I know this, I had an opportunity to work with the head of enrollment at a very large very large Division I private university. And I was meeting with her and she goes, "We get smart people all the time. Like they're just grades and GPAs, test scores are great. Awesome. Someone who has lower scores and lower grades, but is but is an incredible kid all around, that's more attractive to us.
Wow.
So take that part of it seriously. Sports. Be watching for individuals that could be a great letter of recommendation based upon what the school says is important, right? And then follow the instructions. When it's time to apply, if they say we want 2 letters of recommendation, do not send 1 and do not send 4. More is not better. This came directly from the mouth of the head of enrollment at this big university. If you don't do that, it shows you're not following instructions or not paying attention. That's an automatic set aside. It's fascinating. So, be paying attention to who can help promote your kid when it's time. You might have someone for outside activities. You might have somebody for a charitable thing. With this school, you might be submitting these 2 letters. With this school, they might not care about that so much. So you're submitting these 2 letters, right? So just, again, it's the importance of the package and then the individual targeting. So we don't want to shotgun it for each school. We want to sniper rifle it for each school. And the data is there for us to be able to do that. And that's what makes financial difference.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man.
I won't see you at this one, but I'll see you at the next webinar.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate it, Ben. Well, thanks for letting me jump, and I appreciate your time today for me as well. It's fantastic. Anything I can do, buddy, let me know.
Do your thing, Kelly. Don't suck. It's on his hat if you're listening to the audio, but don't suck. Go crush it.
All right.
Bye now.
Take care, man. See ya.
Take care.